All right, what's going on, Bulls Nation? So, welcome back again for another video. Breaking news. So, Kyrie Irving just got traded to the Mavericks. And you know what that means? That means Kevin Durant, who already asked for trade, is going to follow suit. So, we'll talk about that right after this.
Let's talk about one of the most iconic basketball teams in the world. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
All right, Bulls Nation. So I remember making a video about Kevin Durant possibly joining the Bulls because he made a comment about, the Mars game and how he loves it and all that stuff, which just all good. It's all good. This is how we are fans, not just Bulls fans, but every fan out there likes to do this hypothetical trades, go to trade machine and all that stuff. So there's no harm in here. It's just all fun, thinking about this. But now it's a real possibility now that Durant revisits his request to be traded. Now, any team can use a Kevin Durant. And when I made that video, most people does not like the idea of gutting the Bulls roster for Kevin Durant. And rightfully so. I get that. We were doing great last year. Why would you do that? And this is exactly why. Look at what happened to the Bulls last year and what's happening this year. Now, there's a lot of change, too, as far as Kevin Durant is concerned. He's older. He's more injury-prone. I think he missed a lot of games now this year and last year combined. So, did your perception change about possibly acquiring Durant and possibly the cost of getting Kevin Durant to a Chicago Bulls? We're not going to talk about other teams. We can make an argument that there's other teams that might get a better package, give better package than the Bulls, and you might be correct. But as we saw from the Kyrie Irving trade, it only cost them Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, an unprotected first, and a second. Now, this is completely different scenario because Kyrie would be an unrestricted free agent next year compared to KD, who is on the hook for 3 more years after this year. So basically you got KD locked up. So and it's KD. So the price is going to be higher. The question is, how much are you willing to pay for a 34-year-old forward who has a bunch of injury history, which is still considered one of the best players in the game at the moment. Albeit being fragile, still one of the best players. So that is the dilemma for a Bulls fan, right? Like any conversation, I would say, if I'm the Nets, I want Patrick Williams, this guy right here on the screen. He's shown flashes. I might even ask for Caruso. But as a Bulls fan and as a Bulls organization, that's where you kind of draw the line. You got to know which line are you not going to cross? Which players are you not going to trade? So you can't get KD because of his high salary, which is $44 million, without giving up either one of the big three, or if not both, right? Now, in an ideal world, you got Vooch, DeMar for KD. That would be perfect, right? Like in an ideal world, and the salary's not going to match, so you got to add something with KD. But if I was Brooklyn, why would I do that? Like, if I'm trading basically my future, my now, then I want to build a future. So that means I want Patrick Williams, possibly Ayo Dosunmu, maybe Alex Caruso, and one of the big three. Now, is that going to entice you now as a Bulls fan? Basically gutting your roster. I would not. Alex Caruso is extremely valuable, even though he's injury prone as well. But he's in a very team-friendly contract. And you can easily flip this guy for a first rounder. Because, listen, if I was the Nets, I would start off with, let's say, Levine, Patrick Williams, Ayo, and 2 first rounders. I personally think that's too much for KD. We're not getting a 30-year-old KD here. We're getting a 34-year-old KD who missed, 20 games now this season, possibly around 30 games last year. And you do this, you got Lonzo Ball in the team as well, who's also an injury prone. I mean, the risk is too high for the Bulls if you're giving up that much. And I think that's too much. If Levine, we're talking about Levine, I would possibly give up Zach, Patrick Williams, and the Portland first, maybe our own first somewhere down the line, and that's basically it. That is it. Now, if you're gonna go DeMar, I can include, like, let's say DeMar, P. Will, Kobe White, and maybe those 2 picks again. But anything more than that, because you're not getting a prime Durant, it's just gonna get worse from here. The injuries are gonna pile up. He's getting older. His game is still out there. The question is how many games he's gonna play for you. And with a gutted roster, if he goes out for another 20, 30 games, would you survive that? The good news about acquiring KD is that if you do so, you certainly have to resign Vooch. Because you sign Vooch, KD's a good defensive player. He can cover Vooch's deficiencies on defense. Like, he's long, he can block shots, he can rebound the ball. He's a perfect power forward next to Vooch. He's also a sniper. This is the best combination if you get him. You got KD, you get Vooch on 5, 4 at KD. At 3, you can probably put Zach or Javante, and then put Zach on 2, and on 1 you get Ayo for now, and then eventually going to be Lonzo. That is the best possible combination. Now, if you go DeMar, you can get DeMar obviously at 3. At 2, you get Kobe or somebody else. I don't know, AC perhaps, and Ayo for now, and then Lonzo in the future. Still pretty good looking lineup out there, but I think, I guess stylistic wise, KD and Zach just looks good together, in my opinion, because KD is a mid-range shooter as well, as much as a sniper from the outside. DeMar, I think, is going to clog up the lane for them. So ideally you trade DeMar, P. Will. Trust me, I don't want to trade P. Will, but I don't see any scenario where the Brooklyn Nets are not going to ask for him. I just don't see it. So that's where I would start. That's a good baseline as well for, let's say, for New Jersey. You get DeMar, who's still at the peak of his game, at 3. You get Dinwiddie at your point. P. Will at your power forward. Maybe you can slide DeMar to 2 and put Dorian Finney-Smith as your 3. So that's a formidable lineup right there, and you get Claxton. You can put Ben Simmons at 4. I don't know. You can do a lot of combinations. That is if they don't want to trade Ben Simmons as well. So that's a lot of combination out there that you can kind of try out if you really want to. But it's gonna be good, So we'll check and see. But if I was the Bulls, I would certainly entertain to a degree how well they can push or get a third team or something, but I would certainly make the phone call. But let me know in the comments down below if this is even a possibility in your eyes. Let's face it, we're not gonna get him with Vooch and Tony Brandy and all that stuff. You got to give up either Zach and or DeMar plus P. Will. So I would say that's the starting right there. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.